The massive observation chamber of Station Nexus 7 hummed with nervous energy as 12 different alien species gathered to witness the arrival of Earth's first official diplomatic delegation. Ambassador Zwiextal, a towering crystalline being whose faceted body sparkled with internal light, leaned forward to get a better view through the quantum glass viewport. "Fascinating creatures, these humans," remarked Chief Xenobiologist Meredith Nash, adjusting her uniform's collar as she stood beside the assembled alien diplomats. Her presence as the station's resident human specialist had been specifically requested for this historic moment. Below, in the main docking bay, a sleek Earth vessel was completing its final approach. The ship's design was surprisingly elegant for a species so new to interstellar travel, its smooth lines betraying an innate understanding of both form and function. "They're so small," chittered Kvath, a mantis-like being whose iridescent exoskeleton shifted colors with each movement. "How did such diminutive creatures achieve space flight?" "Size isn't everything," Meredith responded with a slight smile, knowing what was about to unfold. She'd spent years studying her own species from an outsider's perspective, preparing for this moment. The ship's airlock cycled, and 5 figures emerged. Leading the group was Ambassador Marcus Valencia, his dark skin contrasting sharply with his silver-trimmed diplomatic uniform. Behind him walked Security Director June Nakamura, her practiced eyes already scanning the docking bay with casual efficiency. Dar. Rajesh Patel, the delegation's xenolinguist, followed closely, while Technical Officer Diana Winters and Cultural Liaison Officer Thomas Chen brought up the rear. "Watch their eyes," Meredith suggested quietly to the assembled aliens. "You'll find it illuminating." The alien diplomats leaned forward as one, multiple species of visual organs focusing on the human delegation. What they saw sent a ripple of unease through the observation chamber. "By the stellar winds," breathed Nextera, a floating gas-based intelligence whose containment field flickered with agitation. "They're all watching everything at once." Indeed, while the humans appeared relaxed and diplomatic, their eyes never stopped moving. Even while Ambassador Valencia smiled and exchanged greetings with the station's welcoming committee, his gaze maintained constant situational awareness. Security Director Nakamura's attention seemed to split seamlessly between multiple focal points, tracking movement patterns and scanning sight lines with predatory efficiency. "That's impossible," declared Vrex, a reptilian diplomat whose scales bristled with concern. "No species can maintain that level of environmental awareness while engaging in complex social interaction. The cognitive load would be instinctive," Meredith finished for him. "We don't think about it. We just do it." The observation chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. These weren't just diplomatic representatives, they were examples of humanity's evolutionary heritage as pursuit predators, wrapped in civilized clothing and diplomatic protocols. Down in the docking bay, Diana Winters had paused mid-sentence during her greeting, her head turning slightly toward a maintenance access panel. Moments later, a small maintenance drone emerged, exactly where she had been looking before there was any visible or audible sign of its approach. "Predictive movement tracking," muttered Kvath. "Like the apex hunters of Rigel 9. Their pupil dilation patterns," added another observer, a being composed entirely of shifting liquid metals. "They matched the neurological engagement signatures of top-line predators," Meredith confirmed. "Yes. Though we prefer the term protective species these days." Ambassador Valencia was now engaging in formal greetings, his smile warm and genuine as he shook hands with various alien representatives. Yet even in this most diplomatic of moments, his positioning was perfect, maintaining clear lines of sight, keeping his team in peripheral vision, unconsciously noting all possible exit routes. "But they show no signs of aggression," observed Zwiextal, crystalline form pulsing with puzzled light patterns. "Their behavioral markers indicate genuine peaceful intent." "Of course," Meredith nodded. "Humans didn't become Earth's dominant species through aggression alone. We're protectors by nature. predators who chose to use our instincts to defend rather than dominate. As if to underscore her point, a young alien child of one of the welcoming species stumbled near the human delegation. Before anyone else could react, cultural liaison Chen had smoothly stepped forward, helping the child regain balance while simultaneously scanning for any signs of distress or injury. The movement was fluid, natural, and utterly indicative of both his species' rapid reaction time and their protective instincts. "Remarkable," breathed NX Terra. They switch between diplomatic engagement and protective response without conscious thought. "That's what makes humans unique in the galaxy," Meredith explained, watching her fellow humans with undisguised pride. "We're not just predators who develop technology, or peaceful beings who maintain defensive capabilities. We're something entirely new, apex protectors who chose to channel our hunting instincts into exploration, innovation, and yes, diplomacy." The alien observers watched in fascinated silence as the human delegation proceeded deeper into the station, their every movement a symphony of unconscious predatory grace combined with genuine diplomatic warmth. They were walking contradictions, peaceful hunters, aggressive protectors, diplomatic predators. And they were about to change the galaxy's understanding of what it meant to be human. 3 days into the diplomatic mission, Station Nexus 7's recreational deck became the stage for an unexpected demonstration of human capabilities. The incident began during what was supposed to be a routine cultural exchange session. Technical Officer Diana Winters was explaining Earth's history of space exploration to an engaged audience of various species when the station's artificial gravity experienced a momentary fluctuation. While most beings stumbled or grabbed for support, the humans in the room adjusted their stance instantaneously, their bodies compensating for the shift before their conscious minds had even registered the change. "Fascinating," muttered Dr. Rajesh Patel, more interested in the aliens' reactions to their instinctive response than the gravity fluctuation itself. "Did you notice how the Chronaxian warriors just straightened up? They're watching us differently now." Indeed, the massive Ursine aliens had taken particular notice of how Security Director Nakamura had not only maintained her balance but had simultaneously moved to support a stumbling Methanian diplomat while scanning the room for potential hazards. All without breaking her conversation about Earth's martial arts traditions. "It's the little things that give us away," Ambassador Valencia commented later during a private meeting with his team. "Our constant environmental awareness, our predictive movements, our threat assessment patterns. We can't help it any more than we can help breathing." The true revelation came during the evening's entertainment session. The station had arranged for various species to demonstrate their cultural performances, and the human delegation had chosen to showcase traditional Earth dancing. What they hadn't expected was how their performance would be interpreted by the predator species present. "Those aren't dance moves," growled Kekstar, a Chronaxian battlemaster, his cybernetic eye whirring as he tracked Thomas Chen's movements. "Those are hunting patterns. Stalking sequences. Combat forms disguised as art." He wasn't entirely wrong. The fluid movements of human dancers did indeed echo the same patterns their ancestors had used to track prey across African savannas. Every spin could become a dodge, every leap a pounce, every graceful step a silent approach. The humans had transformed their predatory heritage into art, but the underlying patterns remained. The revelation spread through the station's diplomatic community like wildfire. Suddenly, every human behavior was being analyzed in a new light. The way they positioned themselves in rooms, always with clear sightlines to exits and potential threats. Their habit of scanning crowds while maintaining conversations. Even their diplomatic protocols began to be understood as evolved hunting behaviors. "Look at how they negotiate," Kvath observed during a trade discussion. "They don't just respond to what's being said, they anticipate it. Like predators reading prey movement patterns." Dr. Patel, overhearing this, smiled slightly. "We prefer to think of it as empathy, understanding others' thoughts and feelings. But yes, I suppose it does share some neural pathways with predatory pattern recognition." The station's predator species, particularly the Chronaxians and the serpentine Natharii, began showing increased interest in human activities. They recognized in these seemingly gentle diplomats something familiar, the controlled power of apex hunters who had chosen to use their abilities for protection rather than pure predation. During a security briefing, a Natharii huntmaster named Sthara approached Director Nakamura with an observation. "Your species moves like water, flowing around obstacles while always ready to strike. Yet you choose peace. Why?" Nakamura considered the question carefully. "Because true strength isn't in the ability to hunt, but in the choice of when not to. Humans learned long ago that our predatory instincts could serve protection as well as pursuit." The conversation was interrupted by a commotion in the station's market district. A young Methanian child had wandered into a restricted area and was in danger of exposure to harmful radiation. Before station security could even respond, Ambassador Valencia was already moving. His body shifted from diplomatic poise to pure predatory efficiency in an instant. The assembled aliens watched in amazement as the human diplomat navigated the hazardous environment with instinctive grace. His movements were precise, economical, and utterly predatory, yet aimed entirely at saving rather than hunting. Within moments, he had retrieved the child and returned to safety. "You see?" Dr. Patel explained to the gathered observers. "Humans never lost our hunting instincts. We just evolved to hunt for different things, knowledge, achievement, and yes, the safety of others." As the diplomatic mission continued, the galaxy's understanding of humanity underwent a subtle but profound shift. They weren't just another spacefaring species that had developed technology and culture. They were something far more interesting, apex predators who had transformed their hunting instincts into tools for civilization rather than suppressing them. "It makes perfect sense," xenobiologist Nash explained to a fascinated group of alien scientists. "Our environmental awareness became scientific observation. Our pattern recognition evolved into mathematical insight. Our pack hunting instincts became diplomatic cooperation. We didn't stop being predators, we just found better things to hunt." The revelation caused some concern among traditionally prey species, until they noticed something crucial about human behavior. In every potential crisis situation, every minor emergency or conflict, the humans consistently positioned themselves to protect rather than threaten. They were predators, yes, but predators who had chosen to be guardians. "Perhaps," Ambassador Valencia suggested during a council session, "it's time we stopped thinking of species as simply predators or prey, and started considering how natural instincts can be channeled into positive evolution." Little did he know that events were about to prove his point in ways none of them could have anticipated. The galaxy was about to learn exactly what happened when humanity's predatory heritage was truly put to the test. The emergency alarms aboard Station Nexus 7 blared to life with a piercing wail that sent waves of panic through the diplomatic quarter. Ambassador Marcus Valencia was in the middle of a cultural exchange session when the first tremors shook the station's superstructure. "Multiple unauthorized ships detected," the station's AI announced in its maddeningly calm voice. "Hull breach detected in sectors 7 through 9. Security protocols initiated." Security Director Nakamura's hand was already on her communicator. "All human personnel, Code Crimson. Implement Protocol Shadow." Her eyes, previously warm during diplomatic discussions, had shifted to the laser-focused gaze of a predator assessing threats. The alien diplomats watched in fascination as the entire human delegation transformed before their eyes. Gone were the friendly smiles and relaxed postures. In their place stood alert, focused hunters, moving with fluid precision that spoke of countless hours of training built upon millions of years of evolutionary instinct. Through the station's massive viewport, dark shapes emerged from the surrounding nebula, sleek, predatory vessels painted in a light-absorbing coating that made them nearly invisible against the backdrop of space. Raiders, using the nebula's interference to mask their approach. "Vraxian pirates," growled Kvoth, his mantis-like form trembling with anger. "They're known for attacking diplomatic gatherings, maximum value, minimum security." Diana Winters was already at a nearby terminal, her fingers flying across the alien interface. They've compromised the station's defensive grid. Primary weapons are offline. She paused, a predatory smile crossing her face. But they didn't account for manual overrides. Humans love our backup systems. Dr. Rajesh Patel had already begun coordinating with the station's various species, his xenolinguistic skills proving crucial in the crisis. "We need to evacuate the non-combat species to the inner sanctum," he announced, his voice carrying the calm authority that humans seem to naturally possess in emergencies. "Ambassador Valencia, with your permission?" Valencia nodded sharply. "Do it." "Director Nakamura, take point on defense." "Officer Chen, help Dr. Patel with evacuation." "Winters, see what you can do about those systems." The Vraxian raiders had clearly expected panic and chaos, the typical response of diplomatic gatherings when faced with sudden violence. Instead, they found themselves facing an organized response coordinated by creatures whose ancestors had hunted on the plains of Africa, creatures who had evolved to work in groups to bring down prey larger and more powerful than themselves. "Fascinating," breathed xenobiologist Meredith Nash, who had joined the human delegation in the command center. "Look at their pupil dilation patterns, the micromuscle movements. They're not just responding to the crisis, they're anticipating it." Indeed, the humans moved with an almost prescient awareness of where threats would emerge. When the first group of raiders breached the diplomatic quarter, they found the corridors darkened and reconfigured, turning their expected ambush point into a killing ground where station security forces waited in precisely planned positions. "How did you know?" demanded Ziwextal, watching as another raider assault was repelled. "Their attack pattern was random, unpredictable." "No such thing as random in combat," Nakamura replied, her eyes never leaving the tactical display. "Predators follow patterns. We've been reading predator patterns since before we had written language." The station shuddered again as another raider vessel attempted to breach the hull. This time, however, they found their cutting beams reflected back at them by emergency shields that Winters had brought online through sheer human ingenuity and a willingness to bypass safety protocols. "Think like the prey, move like the hunter," Valencia murmured, watching the tactical display with intense focus. "An old Earth saying, but it serves us well here." The aliens observed in amazement as the humans coordinated their defense. Each member of the delegation seemed to instinctively understand their role in the group's survival strategy. Chen and Patel moved through the station's corridors, leading evacuees to safety with a combination of diplomatic skill and predatory awareness that kept their charges both calm and secure. Winters had turned the station's compromised systems into a weapon, using her understanding of both technology and hunting patterns to predict and counter the raiders' cyber attacks. "They think like ambush predators," she explained while rerouting power through maintenance systems. "Strike fast, strike hard, retreat." "But humans? We're persistence hunters. We don't need to win every engagement, we just need to keep them running until they're exhausted." The truth of her words became evident as the raid began to falter. The Vraxians, used to quick strikes against helpless prey, found themselves entangled in a prolonged engagement against opponents who seemed to gain strength and focus as the crisis continued. Every retreat was predicted, every assault met with coordinated resistance. "They're starting to make mistakes," Nakamura observed, her voice carrying the calm satisfaction of a hunter who has worn down their prey. "Getting sloppy. Desperate." She was right. The raiders' attacks became increasingly uncoordinated as human-led defense forces continued to anticipate and counter their every move. What had started as a carefully planned assault had devolved into a chaotic retreat. "Remarkable," Kvoth chittered, watching as the last raider ship frantically disengaged from the station. "Your species turned from diplomats to warriors and back again without missing a step. How is this possible?" Valencia smiled, his predator's eyes still tracking the retreating ships even as his posture relaxed back into diplomatic mode. "We never stopped being either," he explained. Humans don't switch between diplomatic and defensive modes, we're always both. Protection and progress, defense and diplomacy, they're all part of the same evolutionary heritage. As the all-clear signals sounded throughout the station, the alien diplomats found themselves re-evaluating their understanding of humanity. They had witnessed something unprecedented, predators who used their hunting instincts not for personal gain, but for the protection of others. Warriors who fought not for glory or territory, but for the preservation of peace. The galaxy, they realized, would never be quite the same now that humanity had revealed its true nature. And perhaps that was exactly what the cosmic community had been missing, a species that combined the instincts of a predator with the heart of a protector. The aftermath of the Vraxian raid left Station Nexus 7 buzzing with a new kind of energy. In the station's tactical center, Ambassador Marcus Valencia stood before an assembled group that would have been unthinkable just days ago, representatives from the galaxy's most feared predator species, all gathered to listen to a human. The massive Chronaxians, 9-foot-tall Ursine warriors with battle-scarred armor, stood shoulder to shoulder with the serpentine Natharii hunters. The crystalline Vextor, notorious for their ruthless hunting strategies, had emerged from their usual isolation. Even the fearsome Drachnid pack warriors, with their obsidian scales and neural-linked combat minds, paid rapt attention. The Vraxians will return, Valencia stated, his predator's eyes scanning the assembled beings. And they won't be alone. Our response to their initial attack has made sure of that. Security Director Nakamura stepped forward, bringing up a holographic display of the surrounding sector. They're already gathering. Long-range scans show at least 3 major raider fleets converging on these coordinates. Her fingers traced patterns through the starfield, highlighting probable attack vectors with a hunter's intuition. Let them come, rumbled Korg Thak, the Chronaxian war chief. We will crush them as we have crushed all who challenge us. Diana Winters, who had been quietly working at a console, looked up with a smile that would have been familiar to any Earth predator. Actually, I have a better idea. One that combines all our species' hunting styles. The assembled predator species watched as she laid out her plan. The humans had done something unprecedented. They had analyzed each species' hunting patterns and created a strategy that utilized them all in concert. The Chronaxians' overwhelming force, the Natharii's stealth capabilities, the Vextor's tactical precision, and the Drachnid's pack coordination would all play crucial roles. Remarkable, hissed Sthara, the Natharii hunt master. You've turned our hunting instincts into a defensive strategy. No other species has ever attempted to unite predators in this way. Dr. Rajesh Patel, who had been observing the interaction with keen interest, spoke up. That's because most species see predators only as aggressors. Humans understand that being a predator means being a protector of your territory, your pack, your family. The truth of his words resonated with the assembled hunters. Each species recognized in humans something they had never seen before, predators who had evolved beyond the simple drive to hunt, yet retained all the instincts and abilities that made them apex hunters. Thomas Chen had been working with station engineers to modify the defense systems according to Winter's plan. The key, he explained, is that we're not fighting like cornered prey. We're hunting the hunters. As if to emphasize his point, the tactical display updated with new information. The raider fleets were approaching faster than expected, confident in their superior numbers. They had no way of knowing they were flying into a trap laid by the galaxy's greatest predator species working in concert. Look at their formation, Nakamura pointed out. They're still thinking like scavengers, looking for weak points, planning to strike and retreat. They don't understand what they're really facing. The Drachnid pack leader, its neural crystals pulsing with battle anticipation, tilted its head. They expect prey, but find hunters instead. This is satisfying. The next few hours were a flurry of preparation. The humans coordinated the efforts, their natural ability to switch between diplomatic negotiation and tactical planning proving invaluable. They helped the Chronaxians position their heavy warships while suggesting modifications to Natharii stealth systems. They worked with the Vector to optimize targeting algorithms and assisted the Drachnid in extending their Neuralink combat network to coordinate with other species. "I've never seen anything like this," xenobiologist Nash remarked to Ambassador Zewextal, who had come to observe. Each predator species traditionally fights alone, convinced of their own superiority. But the humans have shown them the power of hunting as a pack. Valencia moved through the gathered warriors with natural authority, equally comfortable discussing ambush tactics with the Natharii as he was coordinating battle plans with the Chronaxians. The other predator species had quickly recognized and respected the humans' unique combination of diplomatic skill and predatory instinct. "Your species understands something fundamental," Stara said to Nakamura as they reviewed security protocols. "The greatest predators are not those who kill the most prey, but those who best protect their hunting grounds." As the first warnings of the raiders' approach echoed through the station, a new kind of tension filled the air. It wasn't the desperate fear of prey awaiting the hunter, but the focused anticipation of predators preparing to defend their territory. "They think they're coming to finish what they started," Valencia addressed the assembled defenders. "Instead, they're about to learn why Earth's history books are filled with stories of prey species becoming predators, of hunters becoming protectors." The station's lights dimmed to battle conditions, and in the darkness, dozens of different species of predator eyes gleamed with shared purpose. The humans had done more than organize a defense, they had created a hunting pack from the galaxy's most dangerous species, united in the cause of protection rather than aggression. "Send word to the diplomatic section," Valencia instructed Chen. "Tell them the predators of the galaxy stand ready to defend them." He smiled, an expression that managed to be both diplomatic and predatory. "It's time to show the raiders what happens when you threaten a station protected by hunters who have chosen to be guardians." Around him, the combined predator species of the galaxy prepared for battle, united for the first time in history. And at the heart of it all stood the humans, the species that had shown them all that being a predator didn't mean you couldn't also be a protector. The Galactic Council chamber had never seen a gathering quite like this. 2 weeks after the successful defense of Station Nexus 7, representatives from across known space had assembled to discuss the implications of what many were calling the Hunters' Alliance. At the center of attention stood the human delegation, their presence now carrying a weight far beyond their species' brief time in galactic society. "The footage speaks for itself," Ambassador Zewextal announced, their crystalline form projecting recordings from the battle. The assembled delegates watched in stunned silence as the combined Predator fleet, coordinated by human tactical insights, systematically dismantled the raider assault. The hollow projection showed Chronaxian warships emerging from precisely calculated ambush points, their timing synchronized with Natharii stealth strikes. Vector precision units moved in perfect concert with Drachnid pack hunters, their normally incompatible tactics blending seamlessly under human direction. "What you're witnessing," Diana Winters explained from her position at the technical console, "isn't just military coordination. It's the evolution of hunting strategies across multiple species, adapted for protection rather than pure predation." Security Director Nakamura stood beside a tactical display, her predator's eyes still alert even in the safety of the council chamber. Each species here evolved different hunting strategies. The Chronaxians are pursuit predators like humans. The Natharii are ambush hunters. The Vector are trap specialists. The Drachnid are pack hunters. Separately, they're formidable. Together, under the right guidance, they're unbeatable. Ambassador Valencia stepped forward, his diplomatic training perfectly balanced with his species' natural predatory presence. But more important than the victory itself is what it represents. For the first time in galactic history, the premier predator species united not to conquer or dominate, but to protect. The chamber erupted in discussion, dozens of species talking at once. Kvoth, speaking for many, raised his mandibles in a gesture of respectful challenge. Yet this protection came through violence. Through hunting. How is this different from the very raiders you opposed? Dr. Rajesh Patel smiled, the expression somehow both gentle and fierce. Because we chose to hunt not for ourselves, but for others. The same instincts that once helped us track prey across African savannas now let us track threats across solar systems. The same pack mentality that helped us bring down mammoth now helps us coordinate galactic-scale defense. Humans, Thomas Chan added, never stopped being predators. We just evolved to be predators who protect rather than simply hunt. And we've shown other predator species that they can do the same. The evidence was undeniable. The combined predator fleet hadn't just defeated the raiders, they had done so with minimal casualties, their superior coordination allowing them to disable rather than destroy when possible. It was hunting refined into an art of protection. There's another factor to consider, xenobiologist Nash pointed out. Look at the neural patterns during the engagement. She brought up comparative scans of human and other predator species during the battle. The satisfaction centers in all species show highest activation not during combat, but during successful protection of civilian areas. The implications rippled through the chamber. Humanity hadn't just united the galaxy's predators, they had shown them a new way to fulfill their evolutionary drives. The hunt could serve protection. The predator could be a guardian. Korgthak, the Chronaxian war chief, rose to his full intimidating height. The humans have shown us what we should have seen long ago. The greatest hunt is not for prey, but for peace. The strongest predator is not the one who kills best, but the one who protects best. Sthara, the Natharii hunt master, unfurled her hood in agreement. They have given us a new way to be what we are. No longer must we choose between our nature and civilization. We can be both hunters and guardians. Ambassador Valencia took in the chamber, his predator's gaze noting every reaction, every shift in posture among the assembled species. This is humanity's gift to the galaxy. Not technology, not military might, but a new understanding of what it means to be a predator species. We are living proof that evolution doesn't have to be destiny, it can be a foundation to build upon. The Drachnid pack leader's neural crystals pulsed with colors that translated to deep agreement. You have shown us that the hunt can serve the light. That predators need not be feared, but can be trusted as guardians of peace. As the council session concluded, the galaxy's understanding of humanity had fundamentally shifted. They were no longer seen as simply another spacefaring species, nor were they feared as hidden predators. Instead, they had become something new in the cosmic order, evolution's bridge between the hunter and the protector. The human delegation stood together, their predators' eyes bright with the satisfaction of a successful hunt, not for prey, but for understanding. They had shown the galaxy that being a predator species didn't mean being trapped by one's evolutionary past. It meant having the strength to choose how to use those instincts, those abilities, those deeply ingrained drives. What happens now? Chen asked, watching the various species file out of the chamber, predators and prey species alike looking at each other with new understanding. Valencia smiled, the expression of a predator at peace with both his nature and his choices. Now we show the galaxy what happens when protectors work together. The hunt isn't over, it's just beginning. And this time, we're hunting for a future where being a predator means being a guardian of peace. As if to emphasize his words, the station's vast viewport showed the combined predator fleet in formation, Chronaxian, Natharii, Vextor, Drachnid, and human ships flying together. They were no longer just hunters in the dark between stars. They were guardians of a new age, predators who had chosen to protect. And in their wake, a new understanding spread across the galaxy. The most dangerous predator was not the one with the sharpest claws or the strongest teeth, but the one who had learned to use their hunting instincts in service of something greater than the hunt itself.